What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I am back in a video this time once again. We're going to look at Giannis Antetokounmpo, the guy I believe is the best overall player in the entire NBA. And I'm sure 90% of you guys think the exact same thing. But with that being said, over this past week, I saw one take from Colin Cowherd that made me scratch my head and really think.
You know, we've spent a lot of time talking about KD this week. Giannis is better than KD's ever been. I hate to break it to you. KD was never the best player in this league.
And hearing that for the first time, it sounds crazy, but the more you think about it, he may actually be correct. So in the following couple of minutes, I'm going to prove Cowherd right and show you guys why Giannis right now is better than KD has ever been. So when talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo, I would say his best individual year came in 2021 when he won the championship, beating the Heat, the Nets, the Hawks, as well as the Suns. It was a dominant playoff run where he averaged 30 points per game, 13 boards, 5 assists, 1 block and 1 steal on 57% shooting. From the big man spot, the most dominant run since Shaq in the early 2000s. But what makes it even more impressive is when you compare it to Kevin Durant and his best ever playoff runs. And what I did, I looked at KD's entire playoff career where he played more than 15 games. To make it pretty simple, his deepest playoff runs, that being 2011, 2012, 2014, 2016, 2017, as well as 2018. If you compare 1 year of Giannis in 2021 versus all those KD seasons, here's Giannis' ranks versus KD. In points per game, he's first, rebounds first, assists first, field percentage first, steals first, blocks second, PER first, box plus minus first, win shares third, defensive win shares first, defensive plus minus first, and lastly VORP also first. Stats-wise, Giannis in 2021 had a better playoff run than KD has ever had. Look at the advanced numbers, the raw stats. It's fairly obvious Giannis that year was better than KD ever was. But taking it a step further, looking at Giannis in the finals versus Phoenix, he averaged 35 points per game, 13 boards and 5 assists, 2 blocks and 1 steal on 61% shooting. Once again, compared to Kevin Durant and his 2 championship finals, Giannis is simply better, ranking first in points, first in rebounds, first in field percentage, and second in steals, as well as blocks. And if you're still skeptical, let's do 2 more comparisons. Once again, looking at Giannis in 2021, let's compare him to KD in 2017. For that year, Giannis averaged more points, rebounds, assists, steals, and shot higher from the field. Want to do 2018? Once again, Giannis averages more points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and shoots better from the field. If you're into stats in any way, that's a pretty airtight case of Giannis being better than Kevin Durant. But let's say you're more of an eye test guy and Kevin Durant, his handle, his tween hezzy cross, it's so much better than Giannis. Let's say you're one of those guys. Putting the stat sheet aside, what are the 2 most important things in basketball for an individual player? Scoring and defense. When it comes to scoring the basketball, you could say Kevin Durant marginally is better than Giannis, even though both these guys average 30 on a routine basis. But when it comes to defense, not even looking at stats, it's a clear-cut answer that Giannis is the better defender. On ball, off ball, pick and roll, at the rim, his help defense is off the charts, and realistically, he can guard 1 through 5. And to put the nail in the coffin, when it comes to defensive impact, let's look at 2 games from this year's playoffs. The first game is Brooklyn vs. Boston, Game 4 in Brooklyn. Look at the shot chart for Boston and their makes. It's pretty spread out, a lot of action in the paint. They shot pretty well from 3, but it's pretty well balanced with a lot of concentration in the paint and around the basket. Now to contrast that, let's look at Boston's next game, this time versus Milwaukee. Do you notice any small marginal difference in these shot charts? Let me give you guys 2 words. Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's the one major difference in both these shot charts. As Boston in Game 1 was terrified to even enter the paint and settled for 50 three-pointer attempts. Now, even with that being said, some of you guys still may not be convinced, as Kevin Durant in the fourth quarters, the big-time moments, he's the go-to guy who'll get you a shot and he'll get you a bucket late in games. That's a pretty fair statement, so let's see how it checks out when you look at the numbers. Once again, looking at Giannis in 2021, for his championship run in the fourth quarters, he had a total of 148 points with an average of 8.2 on above 60% shooting. For that playoff run, he was the NBA's leader in fourth quarter points. Now, looking at KD's 2 championships and how he played in the fourth quarters, it's also not bad, but when compared to Giannis, not as impressive. As in 2018, he averaged 4.9 points on 45% shooting, and in 2017, 7.3 on above 60%. And I think right about now, it's becoming fairly obvious that Giannis was better than KD has ever been. Want to look at the regular stats? Giannis wins. The advanced stats? Giannis wins. The eye test on both ends? Giannis once again wins. The fourth quarter big time moments? Giannis once again wins those categories. But still, the one thing to say for KD, he has the better accolades and is more accomplished. And to a certain extent, I could see where you're coming from. But if you really want to dive deep into it and add some context, I think Giannis right now is still more accomplished than Kevin Durant. Look at Antetokounmpo's resume in the past 5 years. He has 2 MVPs, 1 Defensive Player of the Year, 5 All-NBA selections, 4 All-Defensive teams, and 1 Finals MVP. And looking at that championship, in my personal opinion, it's more valuable than KD's 2 rings. And why that is pretty simple, as Giannis, unlike KD, stayed with the team that drafted him and didn't pair up with superstars and form a super team, something Kevin Durant has done not once, but twice. And if you go one step further in KD's career, he's had Westbrook, he's had Clay, he's had Draymond, he's had Steph, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and half of Ben Simmons. All that help has netted him 2 championships. For Giannis, all he's had is Middleton as well as Jrue Holiday, and with that has given us 1 championship. My overall point being, when you look at championships versus team help, KD's help is way up there and his championships are down here, compared to Giannis, where his championships and help, it's way more even and not drastically skewed like Kevin Durant. Now, at this point in the video, if you're still on the KD bandwagon, let me say one more thing that might finally change your mind. Giannis Antetokounmpo at this point is 27 years old, and each of the past 5 years has gotten better each season. And this year, nearly averaging 30 points per game, 12 boards and 5 assists on 55% shooting. That is Giannis at age 27, just entering his prime. The sky for this guy is quite literally the limit, and in the next 5 to 7 years, he could get better than he is right now. His jump shooting, his basketball IQ, his overall ball handling and post moves, those could all get better heading into the 2020s decade. And the fact we're having this conversation right now about him being better than KD ever was speaks volumes to how good Giannis is in the moment. And looking past the Kevin Durant debate right now, it's definitely pretty obvious Giannis is the best player in the world. And even looking past that debate, I think Giannis is a legit shot at being one of the greatest players in NBA history. Right now already, I have him top 20, and with another championship, he'll be pushing top 10 all time. And I don't want to jinx it, but when it's all said and done, he could have a GOAT resume and be in the top 5. As already at age 27, his accolades are off the charts, and he has 1 playoff run where he's dominant and carried his team to a championship for the first time in over 40 years. When it's all said and done, this guy is going to have one of the best basketball resumes in NBA history, and quite possibly could knock on Jordan as well as LeBron's doors. Now, with that being said, that is my final point and the end of the video. As always, let me know your guys' thoughts. Do you think Giannis is better than KD ever has been? Do you think he has a shot at being top 10 all time, possibly top 5? And do you think next year he'll add something to his game and be better than he was this year or even in 2021? As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.